Welcome to this channel. This channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So today I like to share with you a very important topic. This is already year 2023 and we must go these directions or else it is guaranteed that it is not going to have any constructive progress, but mostly will end up in time wasting and failure or even injury. Now, there is a problem in today's Chinese Kungfu, be it internal meditations, martial art, whatever, because the truth has been distorted for past 150 years. Now, let me start with an evidence, records, so that you can see what is the reality of Chinese Kung Fu. Today, many people thinking that, oh, this grandmaster is powerful, that grandmaster have the secret teaching, or the people in the 1850s, they are really advanced grandmaster, they know it all. It's like the ancients is perfect. Well, the reality is not, that's not the case. So that we need to get back to the scientific tracking. We are much better than the 1850s time or the past 100 years to be able to train effectively, be able to really get result and stand in the reality. So here I like to share with you an incident, okay? Hopefully this one you will share with you something which is you need to know. So this is from Wikipedia. Okay, so we want to base thing on evidence. And so in the Wikipedia, there is a record of this Liang Quan in Mandarin, Liang Kun in Mandarin. So Liang Kun was born 1813, passed away 1886. Now, who is this guy? This is, as what we know from movies, this is the Grandmaster Iron Bridge 3, TQ Sam. If you watch the Hong Kong Kung Fu movie, the Hongga expert, TQ Sam. Now, what is important is that he is an expert, very famous, and so we all can know about his stories and so forth, legend and so forth. He studied Shaolin martial art, and his arm is as solid as iron. Okay. Now, but we have to watch out. At his old age, he is studying a pole techniques or combat techniques from this monk. Now, at that time, he was into opium. So he is opium addicted. So this Buddhist monk who is teaching him the pole asked him to cut out, to stop, to quit opium. Why he did that? And this is a real respectable person. First, he is a well-established martial artist. And then he learned this pole from this monk, meaning that, he keeping learning. However, at that time, at the mid-old age, he got into opium addiction. So the monk asked him to quit. He do quit. And he quit that, and he still practiced his pole, he trained, developed it. However, because of his old age, his body cannot handle it. He gets sick, and he passed away at the age of 70. So what is this telling us? This is a famous Kungfu master in the 1800s. What it tells us is he is great because he's continuous learning. However, when you get into the opium, you cannot train. That's why his teacher asked him to stop that. Now, with the damage of the opium to the body, he continued to train, and he gets sick, and he passed away. Now, we want to avoid that tragedy to happen. Okay? You want to train martial art, you are not supposed to take those the dope or drugs or those kind of stuff. It damages your body. The second thing is you need to know if your body is not up to that level, you're not supposed to train it. There is no such thing that you can brute force. So it is not only happened today. We from this history of record of the Iron Bridge tree, the Kungfu expert, we see that this is real life. Okay, so the reason why I keeping telling people that you need to track your heart rate with your tracker, either the Apple Watch or the Huawei watch or the Garmin watch or the Polar watch. You need to track what you are doing, what you are training. You know exactly what you get into. Okay, so as I have shared the H model many times here, which is in my book, the Wing Chun Inception. You know that there are 3 types of training. One is the Qi nourishing training. One is fitness training. One is strengthening training. And the Qi nourishing is like your recovery in today's language. The fitness is like in your aerobic base training. And this is strengthen training, really go for your cardio and your muscle endurance and so forth. And you also know that when you train this part, your blood distributions, your cardiac output is actually distributed into your bone and skeleton, in your muscle, going to your muscle. While when you're going down there, your cardiac output distribution mostly are in your internal organs. So if we don't track this, like this is the heart rate zone, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, we do not track this, we have no idea which zone we are practice. We today can predict the outcome. Say, for example, this is an aerobic base Z2. Okay, this is a fitness training. On the Chinese, when they do the Qigong, there's a lot of Qigong is in the Z2. Now, if we don't track our heart rate, how do we know that we are doing it in Z2? Say, for example, Xiu Lim Tao, you practice in the Z2, it is good for your heart, okay? And many things for your health. But if you get into the sweating and using tension, everything, then that is no longer what it is. That is get into the Z4 and you get into your heart rate get very high, then your blood and your blood is pumping to your skeleton muscle. The muscle there is no longer in your the only small part in your body, internal organs. Majority is in your muscle. So you get different result. Now, if you get sick, like for example, just now the expert Kungfu expert Liang Quan or this Iron Bridge Tree, he got opium issue, body is weak, old age. If he stay here, his body will get into promoting healing and fitness. But if you push it into zone 4, you're going to cause yourself trouble. Okay? Another person who get into this is what? Bruce Lee. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if you're keeping practice this thing slowly and softly, well, don't expect that you can fight. Because those are not martial art. Those are just a training, fitness training or building the base. Like people who want to run marathon, they have the training of building the base, and the running training is different. The running training is over the zone 4, which is the threshold training, where you can boot up your VO2 max and so forth, so forth. So we know exactly what it is. And if you want to have 站桩, standing, then you know you are in the Z1. The most a little bit Z2, but in the Z1 type of thinking, of training. So if we don't have this, we have no idea what are we doing. And also everyday training, how much time you spend here to build your base, how much time you stand here on the 4th, it need to be managed, right? You can spend a lot of time here, like you can spend an hour in the Z2. It's not going to damage your body, and in fact, it's going to help your body because it's aerobic, and your heart and so forth. But if you spend 1 hour in Z4 without the Z2, now you know you're going to overload yourself. You're going to get yourself into trouble. If you don't train, then you get into here, you get into what is called the aerobic deficiency syndrome. Your heart rate is going to fly highs. Long term of that, you know you're asking for trouble. So over here is like you do target training, you do sparring. Over here is you need to develop your base. Without this base, you don't have the endurance to go here to play for long. It is a reality. Now, I mapped this out. So 1850s, like the Kung Fu master Liang Kun, we just talk about in the Honga. If he have these tools today, then he will know, oh, my body is no longer up here in the peak. I must not do that. I must concentrate on this. We even drop the train. There's certain thing you simply cannot train, period. Okay. So we can make a choice really rationally on what we should touch, what we should not touch, what we need to train first. Okay. So that is very important. Otherwise, what kung fu you have? You die before even you be able to really fight if you keeping going up to the Z4 without the base. And then if you keeping doing only the Z2, G3 slow, like people playing the sets in the park, you can do that for 1,000 years, you are not going to be able to go fight because you never train at that level. So, as the other day I shared, if you train in the Zhanzhuang or meditation, your heart rate will going down. Notice that we are not just only tracking, like, oh yeah, I track my heart rate too. You need to know the pattern of that heart rate. When you do into the Zhanzhuang, the deep recovery, the nurture qi, your heart rate will go down, your breathing rate will go down. Okay, this is just a beginner. When we are mastering about it, your breathing rate is going to go down. Okay. So there are two things there. One is you track it scientifically. Second, you know exactly what to expect. If it is not showing that you know something wrong with your practice, then you need people to teach you. Okay, you cannot just say, oh yeah, I know this is my heart rate. And then you think you know it all. No. You need to know what it is. Same thing. As you practice the Qigong, you know that which zone you are. In here, it is a warm-up zone, which is in the zone 1. This is the Qigong stuff. Now, this is the slow in the zone 2, zone 3 stuff. Like practice your Xiu Lim Tao in the moderate speed with the low strength. And over here is, it get to the extreme, like the 6-minute and anaerobic. This is like the zone 4, zone 5 stuff. Now, if you don't have this, you go direct to this, you are suicide. Okay? You're going to get into the aerobic deficiency syndrome. It's scientific. Now, if you don't have this recovery, then your body is not going to get recovery. So if you want to keeping talking about internal, well, tell me which one is internal. Well, today's science is much better than internal. Why? Internal is just a fuzzy general term that nobody know what the heck, but right now we know. Are you recovering practice? How good is your practice? Okay. Are you in the Qigong practice for the zone 1, zone 2 to strengthen your heart muscle and so forth? Are you in the zone 3, zone 2, zone 3 to get you ready to build the base? Are you getting to the zone 4, zone 5 to build out your strength, to improve your the lactic threshold VO2 max, and be able to fight in the high intensity, dealing with momentum? And are you going, like this one? My maximum heart rate is how much? I'm 60, say 60, 220 minus 60 is 160. So you see, I go over 160 in around 166, stay there, over maximum for, say from here, say this is, say 6 minutes to 15 minutes. So there are 9 minutes up there in the maximum heart rate. And then you see that this rating my VO2 max is 36, which is good. Now, if you don't have this type of body capability, how are you going to go? So this is more than zone 5. So it is more than 100% of a heart rate. So it's operate here, training here. Now, of course, it has to have a very solid this base training so that you see this thing can be ramped up slowly and stay there. Same thing, can be ramped up and then drop, ramp up and then drop. If you don't have that basic training, you don't have the training over here to be on the base, you cannot do that. Thing is flying all around. No, you just start and then your heart rate just go high. And then you will feel exhausted because over here you will go anaerobic. Now, when you are really exhausted, if you don't have the deep recovery, you will not be able to recover your body fast. One of the signature, if you don't have the heart rate variability measurement to see, is that when you get tired, your heart rate do not going down fast. Your heart rate take a long time to come down. Okay. So we need to know all this. It is not about who is the best fighter, who is the most authentic, who is the most internal. The bottom line is, if you don't train this way, number one, you will never get there because you don't know what you're training. The second, you can injure yourself because you don't know what you're training. The third, you cannot improve your health because you don't know what you're training. The fourth, come on, there's no internal there. Why? Because you have no idea what you are trained. How can that be internal? Okay? You cannot say, well, I just play my 小念头, it's internal. Internal what? So I just share with you just the 5 heart rate zone and all this training, the recovery, the fitness, or the base, and the strengthening or the fighting training. Well, which one do you train in your 小念头 when you play slow like that? What do you expect to get? What can it do? What it cannot do? You train in the zone 2, you can make yourself better, have more endurance. But if you never train in zone 4, in the lactic zone, lactic threshold zone, you're not going to be able to go raise your VO2 max and you exertion, high intensity. If you keep doing in exertion intensity, but you never build the base up, you're going to screw this body and end up that you don't have endurance in the zone 4. So even the athlete is trained zone 2, zone 3 for a long time, build all the endurance going to the zone 4, zone 5, so they can stay long over there. That's why I share with you just now. I have about 9 minutes over my back maximum heart rate. When I measure that VO2 max. If you don't have that, you want to talk about fighting, forget about it. You don't even have the body to do the job. And do the worst, do you know how to train that? If we completely have no idea on all of this, then a question has to be asked. What are we training? You know, like in the Iron Bridge 3, the story, the record, of this Honga expert who died later on for it is overloading training. And then overloading because the opium caused him to be weak. And then he just push it. You know there's trouble, right? So this is education. It's not about I'm number one. Or, no, it is everybody's health and everybody's goal to achieve that. Nothing wrong if you want to train martial arts. But how to achieve that? You need to have a solid education, properly trained. Otherwise, you're going to go to hospital. You're not going to go become strong or healthy, but you're going to go into hospital. And again, with this example of the Kungfu master, this Liang Kun or TQ-san, he is a well-established master. When he was young, it's very famous, well-known, but he still get into that path. Same thing, Bruce Lee. So the body, you cannot mistreat this body. If you mistreat this body, you get in trouble. Okay. Now, when you get into the recovery, usually sometimes people send me his heart rate and then send me a video asking me, most of it is asking me try to praise them. But when I ask question, they get mad. But these people don't know what they are talking about anyway. Okay, you can say, send me a heart rate. But if your heart rate in the standing, 站桩 or anything is staying up there, as what I just explained, heart rate going down. But the heart rate is stick down up there. The second thing is, there are many details there. Like that's why it is very important to read this Wing Chun Inception. So like the H model here, so it tells you what it is, you know, for the recovery part, because Zhanzhuang belongs to that part. And if you know Zhanzhuang, if you know you really have somebody who teach you and you are really good, in this a few page, I show what is the proper thing on Zhanzhuang, the key points. Now, many people don't know this. So when I ask them, where do you learn this? I know they are copying me from my video, copying the words. Somebody will say, well, you know, my breathing is like resonance. I feel good. So I ask, where do you learn that? Who teach you? Then people get offended. So, well, I'm going to do this because it feels good. But I look at them, it violating whatever inside here. So how are you going to say, oh, my breathing is lower abdomen, is resonance, and so forth? You violating the point here. So many times I ask people, okay, do you read my book to learn this or what? That's not to try to sell you my book. That's to know where you got this thing from. And many people who stick with the so-called internal is clueless. They thought that you just watch my video, become like a parrot, like a parrot mimicking human, you know it all. No, you don't. So as what I said, Wing Chun Inception, if you really have the Kungfu, you read that few pages there, you know the key points of the Zhanzhuang, standing zhuang. If you don't know this, you never be able to handle that. Then you need the Wing Chun Inception, the Wing Chun Matrix. You need to start from very beginning because your body never been conditioned before. Okay? That's how serious it is. And if you never condition your body that way, you don't know all this key point, you'll never be able to breathe. It is physical stuff. With this, your heart rate will now going down. In fact, it's going to go up. Okay. So learning is about, like in the university, we learn something. We make sure we understand this. That is really critical. That's why today I make this video. I tell you all, you want to learn Kung Fu, disregard of your style. I already shared with you that 3 group of training, the nourishing chi, the fitness, the strengthening, the 5 heart rate zone, and all these things. If you don't know where you train, that means you don't know what you are training. And if you don't know where you get into, like for example, 站桩, which zone is that? How do you get that zone? How do you handle your body at that zone? If you don't know that, you don't know anyway. Okay. Not to mention when you get to the heart rate zone 4 or the strengthening training where you have to train the intra-abdominal pressure. You can measure it as I shared with you before, the intra-abdominal pressure. Because you want to do exertion, you need that. But if you couldn't even handle your heart rate, how the hell are you going to go up there? So you want to talk chi, if your heart rate you cannot handle, your intra-abdominal pressure you cannot handle, and you don't even know what it is, in how to handle the body, what are you doing? Chinese Kung Fu is in this serious deep source already. And so this is what I'd like to share with you today. The past 100 years, I am really disappointed. The past few decades, especially when people go to Europe or teach, or the America to teach, what they create is only a lot of cultists with high ego, self-centered, self-righteous. Okay? It got no content at all. So, like yesterday, somebody in Asia is talking about fighting, Chinese Kung Fu fighting. And that's why I share with him this thing. I share this thing. I say, show me your VO2 max and show me your heart rate. You'll be able to go extreme, how far you can go. Like the match today is 3 minutes per match, right? 3 minutes per match, right? Over here, we can get 9 minutes above your heart rate, maximum heart rate. In the real life, if you can do 9 minutes straight, then every match is 3 minutes. You probably can, well, at least you can last 1 round. If you don't even have that, how many rounds can you last? If you don't even know what the heck's going on there, how many rounds you can last? Where if you look at the real UFC fighter like a Zhang Weili, they all know where they are. They train. So enough whining. But I'm saying all this thing is, number 1 is your health. There's no Superman. Even Iron Bridge 3 died. If you take that opium, you train that way, even after you stop the opium, you train pushing your limits for your performance, you're looking for trouble. And if you don't even know this, and you don't know the recovery, the fitness, and the strengthening, it is suicidal. So that's why, again, I say this is the second time today. I'm really disappointed with all the so-called grandmaster and master for past 100 years. What do you guys teach? People who have big ego running around, and people who have no idea what's going on. So when this thing meet the Western MMA, the entire thing collapses. The MMA player don't have to talk about internal. They just have to ask you, what is your VO2 max? How about your lactate threshold training? The internal guy is using this so-called internal, 站桩 internal, whatever internal, but it just means nothing. Empty talk. That's why you know already. There's no way you can face MMA with this type of code, Kungfu, or thinking the ancient is everything Kungfu. So this is to share with you today. If we do not be able to check ourselves, there's no progress but going down. And that is going to hurt who? It's going to hurt us for sure. If it is, we are just selling snake oil, it's going to hurt your student. See, there are many people who never really train. They just go selling snake oil to their student. This can screw up people. So many times I say, no, if I can enforce an FDA rules for teaching Qigong and Chinese martial art, I will. I'll go tell FDA. Those people who, if not passing this, like no, the FDA, the Food and Drug rules. Why? Because you are damaging the people in America on your own naive, or you purposely selling snake oil. That is not right.